Hello again. Today we want to look at more worked examples on trigonometric ratios. These are the questions, and this is just a similar work to what we did in our previous lesson, especially the last class. Now, how can we make use of mathematical table or tables to find a cos of minus 486? To be able to do this, I would like to give us two valid points very quickly now. The first formula is theta minus 360 degrees n for positive angle theta greater than 360 degrees, and the second formula is 360 degrees n plus 1 minus theta for negative angle theta less than minus 360 degrees, where n is the number of complete circle and theta, of course, is the angle we have been provided with, the given angle. So how can we apply these two formulae on the above questions? Please remember that we are actually supposed to make use of mathematical table. And please note as well that when we make use of mathematical table on trigonometric ratios, which are sine, cosine, and tangent, the angles are actually right and acute angles. So in each case here, we need to find the corresponding positive angle. For instance, this minus 486 has a corresponding angle, and which happens to be 234, a corresponding positive angle actually. For this 598 degrees, this also has a corresponding positive angle, which happens to be 238. We'll get to know more about these angles as we proceed into the solution proper. And the same happens to minus 1059 degrees. To answer the first question, since this angle minus 486 is less than 360 degrees, then we need to make use of this formula. And we have been told earlier, just above here, that this n actually is the number of complete circles. So how can we figure our n for this first example? Now, this angle actually, the size of this angle actually is always positive. This minus just shows that that angle 486 started from, the measurement actually started from clockwise direction. Positive angles are measured in anti-clockwise direction, while negative angles are measured in clockwise direction. Since this angle is negative, that means it is actually measured in in clockwise direction. So that means it actually goes something like this, and it continues like that. So when it goes in when the angle is negative, that is, it goes in anti-clockwise direction. This is actually 0. Here will be 90 degrees. Here will be 180 degrees. Here will be 270 degrees, and back to 360 degrees. Now, so how can we now figure out our n? Now, the side of the angle, as I said earlier, is always positive. So this angle is actually, the size of the angle is actually 486. You will see that only one complete circle is made when the angle is 486. So which implies that our n actually is 1. So if n is 1, n plus 1 must be what? 1 plus 1, which is 2. And that makes 360 degrees into bracket n plus 1 to be 360 degrees into bracket 2. And that angle is now 720 degrees. Now this really helps us to know the size of the angle that the given angle would be subtracted from. Now proceeding with the solution, this cos minus 486 degrees then should give us cos. Now since the size of the angle 360 degrees n into bracket n plus 1 is 720 degrees, then we subtract that given angle, which is this theta here. We subtract it from that 720 degrees, so we have this, and this should give us cos 234 degrees. Please note that this angle here, this underlined angle here, which is also this, actually is the size of the corresponding positive angle. This is the what? Corresponding positive angle. Now, what we now need to quickly do here is to proceed with our usual formula, that is the casts like this, the quadrant I meant to say. Now 234 here falls in the third quadrant. This 234 falls in the third quadrant. We know that the parameter for third quadrant is actually the angle minus given angle minus 180 degrees. So in third quadrant, we subtract 180 from the given angle. So we should have it as cos 234 degrees minus 180 degrees. And we shouldn't forget again that in third quadrant, only tan is positive. In third quadrant, only tan is positive, as we say from that table. Only tan is positive here. Only tan is positive. So that means in our calculation here, we should include the negative sign. And when we continue with this, we should have it to be minus cos 54 degrees, which of course we can now proceed with the cos of 54 using our 4-figure table. So if you do that, we should be able to get cos 54 to be 0.5878 to 4 decimal places, 54 here. So we can conclude by saying, therefore, cos minus 486 degrees should give us minus 0.5878 to 4 decimal places. Now, remember that we didn't make use of the calculator. What we actually used to find the size of this angle, which is not even in the 4-figure table, was still our 4-figure table, since we have the corresponding positive. So the tip here is that once any question you are asked to find in this form, you should have or know the size of the corresponding positive angle. So the next thing now, which is the final thing for the first question, is to make use of our calculator and see if we have exact same value as cos 54. Minus cos 54. And checking this result, on our calculators, we should be able to find out that the values are actually equal, the same result. So please note actually that this minus cos 54 degrees should give us exact same value in full. Is the whole answer for minus cos 54 must be the same answer for cos minus 486 degrees. And that concludes the very first question.